Hello friends, welcome back to a brand new video. Today we are talking Liverpool. They recently drew 3-3 with Brighton, and the more alarming thing about that entire game was the fact that they conceded 2 goals within the span of 18 minutes. Defensively this season they just haven't looked up to it, and there are some major problems going on with that team. Join me as we head to the tactics board to try and fix some of the issues that are currently plaguing this Liverpool side. Defensively speaking, something needs to change, so we're going to try and find out what. If you enjoyed the video, please leave it with a like and subscribe if you haven't for more content like this coming very soon. Make sure you hit that notification bell so that you never miss an upload, and let's talk about how to fix Liverpool. Okay, this is Liverpool's team as we know it. We have the major starting 11, the major players that they have going forwards. Roberto Firmino is in place instead of Darwin Núñez because I don't think he's quite in this system yet, even though we will see him later on down the line. But when we look at this system, it's built and meticulously thought out to help Liverpool get the very best out of the individuals that are currently in the side. And I mean that in the sense of the midfield specifically. If we have a look at Henderson, Thiago and Fabinho, what we synonymise Liverpool with is energy, is pressing, is power and pace. The pace generally comes from Salah and Diaz, or Mane as it used to be, but mainly the running energy and the running power and the actual drive of this team came from the midfield three. I still think that's the hope, that's the indication from everything that's gone on in Liverpool, but there is one major key difference, and that's that they're not running enough. But let's have a look at the benefits that they get from the energy in midfield and see what happens. We've all seen the way Liverpool play over the last few years. We've all seen the way that they benefit from the high press that they create. When they go forwards, and when Liverpool move forwards and they create that high press, it allows the line to go a little bit further up. And when the line moves up, it allows Liverpool to squeeze the pitch. When they squeeze the pitch, it makes sure that the enemy team can't get out of their own half. When they can't get out of their own half, they're always making sure that they can pressurise the ball. Always moving forwards, always cramming the opposition into an area that, number one, they don't want to be, but number two, it's more dangerous for them to create a turnover. They turn over the ball just outside of the box, and it allows Salah, Diaz or Mane at that point, Firmino as well, to be able to get closer to goal. And they get closer to goal, obviously they get better scoring opportunities. It also means less movement and less distance for them to reach the goal. It's a major thing that Liverpool have been doing, and it's really crucial to the way that they play. This system with the 3 midfielders, specifically the 2 8 going forward, allow Liverpool to really pressurise the ball in these areas, the area in front of Henderson and the area in front of Thiago. This is then helped by the likes of Roberto Firmino, who goes into this space, and then Salah and Diaz obviously really compact and just fall on the opposition, making it difficult for them to get their passing lanes out, which Thiago and Henderson are then covering, and it all works perfectly. But the problem that Liverpool have had of late is the lack of press, the lack of intensity, the lack of movement, and the lack of just drive. Liverpool in general have completed 20 less pressures than they did last season. And that might not seem like a lot, but it really does add up. And when that happens, it means that Liverpool are not getting to the ball quickly enough. Their midfielders are not getting to the ball quickly enough. I'm specifically looking at Henderson and Thiago because Fabinho is more of a non-entity here. Fabinho is the deep-lying midfielder that's meant to sweep up in case anything goes wrong. The problem is that a lot of things are going wrong at the moment because Thiago and Henderson are just not able to cover the spaces. When we look backwards, we'll move everything into a defensive position, as if they're defending on the edge of their own box, which they have had to do this season. We look at it, and Firmino is here in his role. He can occasionally drop in, but not all of the time. We have Henderson, and when Henderson doesn't press, and when Thiago doesn't press, when the movement around the defensive midfield positions isn't there, when it's not there, it makes it very difficult for Liverpool to stop the ball going through them. Because if Thiago is further forward and Henderson is further forward in attempting to initiate a high press, it leaves Fabinho very isolated. Now, Fabinho just generally cannot cover all of this distance. it's impossible for him. He doesn't have the mobility and he doesn't have the movement to be able to cover the entirety of his back line. Then you have another issue, and that issue is Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now, for all of his brilliant play going forwards, we are aware that Trent Alexander-Arnold really does struggle to defend his quarter of the pitch. If we imagine that all of these are quarters, and I'll colour code them accordingly. If we all imagine these are quarters of the pitch, when we look at it, Trent Alexander-Arnold struggles to defend his quarter. It means that teams are attacking down this side, and it's making it very difficult for Liverpool to defend. It makes it even more difficult when the likes of Henderson cannot get back towards the likes of Trent to be able to help him out, which he used to do a couple of seasons ago. Fabinho also can't cover this channel, which means that a lot of the time Liverpool are exposed. When they're exposed, Matip needs to come and cover. Now, that might be fine, and Matip is a good defender, and Matip can cover these runs, which is fine, but that also drags Van Dijk this way, and it also drags Robertson this way, and all of a sudden, instead of having balance on the pitch, and instead of making sure that Liverpool as a defensive unit are solid, now all of a sudden they have an area of the pitch which they are not defending, which they are not occupying, and this creates a lot of space for the enemy team. This creates overloads, it creates the ability to switch the play, which a lot of teams are utilising, and Brighton did this pretty sensationally on the weekend. Now, how do you fix this? Well, Liverpool need to be defensively more solid. Trent is always going to play the way he wants to play. He's a playmaker at a fullback. You can't be asking him to just defend better. That's not how he works. Yes, he could improve, but if you start asking him to stay where he is, you're limiting the amount of creativity that he can offer this side. And when you don't have a out-and-out creative midfielder that is able to continuously produce like Trent Alexander-Arnold can, it becomes very difficult going forwards. So he has to play his game, and he has to try and keep forcing the issue by moving forwards. This is still going to leave a big gap behind him. So what do? You need more defensive security if your midfield is not going to press in the way that you want it to. So, I don't think that this system, although it's been meticulously created for Liverpool to succeed, I don't think Henderson works, and I don't think Thiago works in these forward advanced 8 roles. I think too much is being asked of them to cover the ground. They're getting a little bit older, and also they've done a lot of running over the years. They can't cover all of this space and then still be asked to go forwards and assist the attack. Now, you might say that they don't need to assist the attack, but I'd argue they do. With Mo Salah being pushed out further to the right in order to accommodate Darwin Núñez later on down the line, I don't think Liverpool have the same potency that they used to. Luis Diaz is a bundle of energy, and he's currently utilising that to very good effect. But what happens when he's been asked to drift further left to accommodate the ability to have Núñez in the box? It's going to leave Liverpool with a creative issue. And I just don't think that currently with this system it works with the lack of pressurisation that Henderson and Thiago have. Right, now let's have a look at the solution that I possibly might have for the short term to be able to help Liverpool and fix their issues generally defensively and going forwards. Right, here we have the team that I am proposing. Not too much of a change, but you'll notice immediately there is one big difference. I've changed them from a 4-3-3 into a 4-2-3-1. Now, if I highlight these again, we can see the different areas and stages of the pitch. And here we have that. Right, so we obviously have a singular striker instead of the forward 3. We have 3 midfielders almost. Salah is a winger, obviously, so is Diaz, but for the intents of this talk, we are going to call them wingers. Firmino is a holding midfielder. He has Henderson's number, so we'll change that very quickly. Firmino is a central attacking midfielder in this system, not a forward. Then you have the midfield pivot of Fabinho and Thiago. This could very easily be changed to a more defensive structure in sense you could put Henderson instead of Thiago. You could put in Naby Keita if he was fit to give it a little bit more energy. But the idea is that you have 2 holding midfielders, and then obviously you have your back 4. Right. Now, just to start off defensively, I think defensively this is far more sound than what Liverpool were doing previously. When you have a holding midfield too, it allows them to cover so much more space defensively, and that's currently an issue that Liverpool have. In most of the games that they have played, they have conceded first, which means that defensively they're just not there. At the moment, they're just not there. They need to stop conceding goals. They need to stop conceding as many goals. You can't concede 3 against Brighton at home and then still expect to be gunning for the league title. It just doesn't work like that. So, Fabinho and Thiago can cover the defensive duties first. You have 4 attacking players, 4 very, very capable attacking players. Darwin Núñez is yet to adapt to the Premier League, but I have no doubt that he will later on. You have 4 attacking players that are dedicated to attacking. You have 2 defensive midfielders, and then obviously you have your back 4. I don't think Liverpool can be as gung-ho as they used to be. I don't think they can have that mentality that if we keep attacking, they will eventually win the game. I don't think they can do that with the lack of energy they're currently putting into it. 7 out of the 9 games that they have played, they have been outrun by the opposition. And that is a major issue. So, when they go forwards, and when they look to attack, and when they look to defend, they need to change the way they play. In doing this, I've suggested a double pivot. Now, Fabinho and Thiago will be able to cover the defensive structures, but also it still allows for Thiago to play those passes into the wings. It still allows Fabinho to play the passes into the wings. It also gives an option to pass to Roberto Firmino, who is then able to either drive and make runs or make passes into the channels. Salah and Diaz can still make runs towards the channels to give Liverpool an outlet, which I think they have missed of late. They can still make sure they have outlets in the channel. Salah has been pushed wide more often than not, and I do think that's to accommodate Darwin Núñez into the box. I think he's going to become more of a provider than an out-and-out goal scorer, and once Núñez really does find his feet, I think you're going to see the system really work in their favour. But at the moment, that's not the case. Defensively, when you have Salah going forwards, you can have him cut inside, but then Trent Alexander-Arnold can then overlap, create his crosses for Darwin Núñez, but then that still leaves the space in behind, doesn't it? When we have the space in behind, what are you going to do about it? Well, with this double pivot system, one thing that you can do is you can have Fabinho come and take this spot. Thiago can then move across, and although you're 1 man short, Firmino can then drop in. And all of a sudden, it becomes a little bit more stable. Teams will not be able to counter-attack down this right-hand side because Fabinho will be occupying the right-back space that Trent Alexander-Arnold used to. This is the job that Jordan Henderson used to do for the most part when Liverpool were really in their pomp. Jordan Henderson was able to cover for Trent Alexander-Arnold and the defensive frailties that he left at the back. I think Fabinho can do this role, and he can do it very, very well. He used to play at right back. He's used to being that defensive midfielder / right back on the right hand side, and I think that he would work well with Matip and Van Dijk to create a stable back 4. This then allows an overload on the right hand side and helps Salah going forwards. I think Salah does need a little bit of help. I know he's been playing okay of late. I know the intensity is still there, but he seems a little bit isolated for me. He seems like he doesn't necessarily know what his role is. A lot of these players don't know what their roles are, and that's because I think they're trying to switch up systems to try and accommodate for Darwin Núñez. Darwin Núñez will benefit from the system greatly, by the way, because of the way that he likes to run the channels. He runs the channels very, very well, and when he does this, it allows space and allows opportunity for the team. Let's not forget that if he does this, it will then also allow Salah to cut inside to the middle, which is not limiting his goal-scoring ability. Overall, I think this system is by far the best option that Liverpool could possibly go for. Defensively stable, allows them to retain more of the ball, allows them to have more control of the ball, and it's down to this double pivot system. Roberto Firmino, I don't think you can take out of this team, just simply because of the amount of goals that he scored. When you look at the way that he is going forwards, I think that you need to drop him a little bit deeper. Creatively, he always naturally does that, and he doesn't need to be that real spearhead of the attack. I think that's Darwin Núñez's point. And I think if you give Núñez a little bit of support in the sense of Firmino and the sense of Salah and Diaz to really try and create for him, I think with a stable foundation of a double pivot, you have the back 4 which doesn't push up all too much. I think Liverpool can be a real threat going forwards and still have that control and stability that they used to have without the necessary overloading of energy. This also helps and accommodates their teammates for the lack of pressing and the lack of drive and running power that Liverpool have. Going forwards, I think this could be absolutely fine. It would require a couple of role changes. It wouldn't be so much of a forward line as we have known it in the past. It would be more of Diaz and Salah creating for Nunez, who would be an absolute menace and monster in the box. We've seen how physically strong he is. We've seen how quick he is. It just takes a little bit of encouragement, a little bit of adaptability, and I think that Nunez will eventually get there. Overall, I think that this could be a system that could really work for Liverpool. I think Matip, Van Dijk and Robertson haven't really been at fault all too much. Yes, there have been some individual errors, but overall I think it's a system that's really been letting Liverpool down. And I think a change of system is something that they desperately need, especially with the lack of intensity that they've been bringing to these matches of late. A double pivot system is something that I really think could work and could help Liverpool bounce back for the future. That's it for today, guys. Thank you ever so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave it with a like and subscribe if you haven't for more content like this coming very soon. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts on Liverpool. How do you fix their situation and how do you think it's going to change? Let me know. You can always let me know on Twitter as well. You can find me at Zekko64. That's generally where I post when my videos go live, but of course you can always know that if you hit that notification bell so that you never miss an upload. Like I said, that's it from me for today. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I hope to see you in the next one. But until then, take care of yourselves, and bye-bye.